All right, everyone, welcome back. So glad to have you here for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something a little different, a little bit lighter maybe. We're talking about crime, but not the usual kind. This is about the criminals who, well, how do I put this? Let's just say their plans went spectacularly wrong. We've got a whole stack of stories here, news articles, court records, all kinds of crazy stuff.
It's amazing how much material is out there. And what's really interesting is, we always think of criminals as being, masterminds,
Yeah.
right? Clever, cunning. But these guys, well, they took a different approach, let's just say.
Yeah, some might even say a brilliant approach in its absurdity.
Exactly. Brilliantly absurd. You hit the nail on the head.
All right, so to kick things off, we've got a story from Kings Lynn, Norfolk. A Tesco supermarket, a knife, and a Facebook post. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, this is a classic. This is Andrew Hennels, our aspiring Facebook felon. This is like textbook impulsivity meets a complete lack of understanding about how the internet and, digital footprints work.
So break it down for us. What exactly happened?
Okay, so Andrew, he decided he wanted to rob this Tesco. That's where it all starts. Pretty normal, sadly. But then instead of, keeping it quiet, being sneaky about it, he goes and posts his plan on Facebook.
Wait, seriously, he posted it publicly. What was he thinking?
I don't think thinking was really involved here. He posted a selfie, a picture of the knife he was going to use, and the caption was, "Doing. Tesco. Over." It was basically an invitation to the police.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Social media overshare taken to a whole new level.
Absolutely. And guess what? The police saw it. They arrested him 15 minutes later. They found him with the stolen cash, the knife, the whole works. 4 years in prison, all thanks to one Facebook post.
Wow. Talk about instant karma, right? It really goes to show if you're going to commit a crime, maybe leave the internet out of it.
100%. Everything you do online leaves a trace.
Yeah.
And in this case, that trace led straight to a jail cell.
Okay, so that was our Facebook fail. Now for something a little different. This one is more, well, let's say bizarre behavior than just plain incompetence. This happened in Lancashire, England. A retired couple came home from holiday and got a surprise.
Oh yeah, this is the case of Lucas Chosnowski. This guy was a burglar, but he had a very unique way of doing things. Imagine this. You come back from vacation, right? You're expecting your house to be exactly how you left it. But you find a stranger sleeping in your bed.
Okay, that's already creepy enough, but it gets weirder, right?
Oh, it gets way weirder. This Lucas, he wasn't just sleeping there. He'd done their dishes, washed his underwear, even bought groceries with their money. It's almost like he was trying to be a helpful burglar.
Hold on. He did their chores and went grocery shopping. Like, was he trying to make up for breaking in or something?
It's a mystery. Was it guilt? Some strange kind of respect? Or maybe just, a very particular personality. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'd be a little freaked out, honestly. Like, sure, a tidy house desk is great, but not one who breaks in first. What do you think was going on there?
It's tough to guess without knowing more. But maybe he was having some kind of, episode. Or felt like he had to keep things tidy even while doing something wrong. It's definitely more than just stealing stuff.
Definitely a head scratcher. Okay, so we've had a Facebook fail and a super tidy burglar. Ready for something completely different.
Hit me with it. I'm ready for anything at this point.
All right, this one involves alcohol, a penguin, and what we call a severe case of holiday brain. We're going down under to SeaWorld in Australia, where two Welsh tourists made some very bad choices.
Oh, this is a classic what were they thinking moment. And a perfect example of how holiday brain can really take over.
Yeah, these two Welsh tourists, Rice's Owen Jones and Carrie Mules, they were on holiday in Australia, and well after a night of, let's just say, celebrating, they ended up at SeaWorld.
SeaWorld, as in the theme park.
The one and only. But they weren't there for the shows or the rides. They broke in.
Broke in. Seriously, like after hours sneaking in or something. Oh no, this was a full-on rampage. They went swimming with the dolphins, set off a fire extinguisher in the shark enclosure.
Hold on. They set off a fire extinguisher in the shark tank.
Yep. And to top it all off, they stole a penguin.
Wait, they stole a penguin? How did you even steal a penguin? Did they stuff it in a suitcase or something?
Your guess is as good as mine. But the next morning they woke up, and there he was, Dirk the penguin, hanging out in their apartment, like a very confused house guest.
Oh my god, I can only imagine the hangover they must have had waking up to a penguin in your living room.
They actually tried to take care of him, believe it or not. They fed him, tried to give him a shower, make him comfortable.
That's kind of sweet in a very misguided way. But I'm guessing they realized a penguin isn't exactly a low-maintenance pet.
Exactly. They ended up releasing him into a canal, hoping he'd find his way back to the ocean. Luckily, some people spotted him and called the authorities, who got him back to SeaWorld safe and sound.
So Dirk the penguin had quite the adventure, and the tourists got a hefty fine and a story they'll never forget. I guess the lesson here is don't mix alcohol and marine animals.
Definitely sound advice. Yeah. It shows how, even on vacation, you can't just throw all caution to the wind. Actions have consequences, even when you're having a whale of a time.
Okay, moving on from tipsy tourists, let's talk about a case that's more about vanity and audacity. This one involves a wanted criminal, a mugshot, and a selfie that went viral for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, yes. This is the story of Donald Chip Pugh. He was wanted for arson and vandalism in Ohio. You'd think he'd want to stay out of the spotlight.
Right. Lay low, avoid attention.
Exactly. But Chip, he sees his mugshot online, and he's not happy. He thinks it's unflattering.
He's worried about how he looks when he's a wanted criminal.
Apparently. So he does what any self-respecting criminal would do. He sends the police a selfie.
No way, he sent the police a selfie.
He did. He even complained that the mugshot made him look like a Thundercat or James Brown on the run. Asked them to use his selfie instead.
Talk about bold. He basically gave them a better picture for their wanted posters.
The police were happy to oblige. They shared it on social media, and it went viral. Chip became a laughingstock, and they made it much easier for them to catch him.
He basically self-sabotaged with a selfie. It's incredible. So we've got vanity, impulsivity, lack of awareness. These seem to be common themes today.
Definitely. It makes you wonder, are these people just clueless, or is there something else going on here? Like, are they just making bad decisions, or is it something about the situation that leads to these crazy choices?
That's a really interesting question. Are these just isolated incidents, or is there a bigger picture here?
It's something to think about. And speaking of thinking about things, we've got 2 more stories for you, each one more unbelievable than the last.
All right, bring it on. I'm ready for more criminal capers gone wrong.
This next one takes us to Afghanistan. We've got a Taliban commander who, well, let's just say he had a very unique understanding of how rewards work.
A Taliban commander. Okay, I gotta hear. What did he do?
So this commander, Mohammed Ashan, decides to surrender to the authorities. Sounds pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, surrender. Turn yourself in.
But then he demands the $100 reward money for his own capture.
Wait, what? He wanted to collect the bounty on himself.
That's right. He pointed to his own wanted poster and asked for the reward money.
I don't even know what to say to that. Was he desperate? Did he not understand how bounties work? Was it some kind of bizarre joke?
It's hard to say. It's one of those things that leaves you scratching your head. But it does make you think about the complexities of war and the people involved, the strange situations that can arise.
Yeah, this one is definitely more than just simple incompetence. There's a whole other layer of context there. But before we dive too deep into that, we've got one more story. And this one is a personal favorite.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
All right, imagine this. A man attempts to rob a bookmaker's in Glasgow. So far, so normal, right. But here's the kicker. His weapon of choice. A cucumber.
A cucumber?
A cucumber, hidden in a black sock. This guy, Gary Ruff, he thought a cucumber-stuffed sock was enough to intimidate the staff.
Well, you gotta admire his creativity, I guess.
Right. It's almost like he was trying to be funny, not actually commit a crime.
Well, his cucumber heist didn't go as planned. An off-duty police officer was there and tackled him to the ground. Cucumber confiscated, dreams of veggie-fueled crime spree shattered.
I bet he felt pretty silly when he got arrested. Maybe even a little pickled.
He actually claimed it was all a joke at first, then asked if he was getting to jail for it. Spoiler alert, he did.
So we've gone from Facebook fails to penguin napping to cucumber-wielding robbers. We've seen it all today.
We have, and it's been a wild ride. But I think these stories, while funny, also tell us something about why people commit crimes and about human nature in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, what do you think about all of this? Do you see any common threads running through these cases? What do these stories tell us about crime and the people who commit it? We'll be back after a quick break to wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts. And we're back, wrapping up our look at some of the, well, less than brilliant criminal minds out there. Honestly, I'm still chuckling over some of these stories.
Me too.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the laughs, right? I mean, these cases, they're like little windows into how people think, how they make decisions, especially when they're under pressure or in, let's say, unusual situations.
Yeah, definitely. On the surface, it's like, oh, wow, that was a bad plan. But there's often more to it, isn't there? Like certain personality traits, patterns of behavior that kind of explain things.
Absolutely. Like, take Andrew Hennels, the Facebook guy. It's all about impulsivity, right? Wanting something right now, not thinking about what might happen later. Kind of like, a kid grabbing a cookie before dinner.
Ooh, yeah, perfect analogy. And then you've got our tidy burglar, Lucas. That's a whole other thing. Maybe it's about control, wanting to minimize the mess he's making, almost like he cares about the victims.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, what actually drives people to do these things? It's not always as simple as we think.
Right. It's not just about greed or being mean. Okay, and then there's our penguin napping tourists. Pure holiday brain in action.
Oh, totally. You're in a new place, maybe you've had a few drinks, feeling like the rules don't apply. It can lead to some pretty wild decisions.
For sure. And of course, we can't forget about Chip Pugh and his selfie. Edo, pure and simple.
Talk about a cautionary tale for the social media age. Your online image can come back to bite you, especially when you care more about looking good than, not being a wanted criminal.
And then the Taliban commander wanting his own bounty. It's almost like, what? How does that even happen?
It's one of those stories that just throws everything for a loop. Makes you realize that human behavior, especially in extreme situations, can be really, really hard to predict.
And finally, our cucumber-wielding robber. You almost have to respect the ingenuity, right? Even if it's completely misguided.
Yeah. It makes you think, was he really a hardened criminal? Or just someone who made a really, really bad choice? Like a whole series of bad choices leading up to that moment.
Right, like what got him to that point? What were the circumstances? Something to consider.
Exactly. We can laugh, and we should, because these stories are funny, but they also make us think about the bigger picture. What leads people to crime? What role does society play in all of this? It's complicated.
Absolutely. So as we wrap things up here, I think it's safe to say we've had a good laugh, maybe learned a thing or two, and gotten a little glimpse into the weird and wonderful world of criminal ineptitude.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Sometimes the line between a criminal mastermind and, comedian is pretty thin.
Well said. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed it. And remember, if you ever feel tempted to pull off a heist, maybe just watch a movie instead. It's much safer, probably more entertaining, and definitely won't end up on our next episode. Until next time, stay curious,